The ARCA race officially concluded from Kansas Speedway, and Brendan Butterbean Queen picks up a second career ARCA win in a one-lap shootout. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching the ARCA race from Kansas Speedway, the Tide 150. We had quite a bit to talk about from this race. Let's go and talk about it. So at the start of the race, you got Lawless Allen on the inside, I believe William Swatch on the outside, and Lawless got actually a pretty decent start and was able to clear for the race lead for a couple laps, but then eventually William Swatch got a really good run, and he was able to take the race lead. Meanwhile, Brendan Butterbean Queen, the guy eventually would win the race and battled really hard for Lawless Allen for a couple laps, and on lap 5 or 6 was able to clear Lawless Allen for second position. On the short run, Williams' car was really good. It was actually pulling away from Brendan, but on the long run, as they were catching a lot of the slower lap traffic, Brendan was really running him down very quickly. And with around 70 laps to go in this race, Brendan Butterbean Queen would make a really big move to the inside, got a great run on him, and was able to take the race lead. And he just started checking out and pulling away. That number 28 car was so good on the long run, like Connor Zillage was last year at this track. He started pulling away and checking out to a near 3-second lead. And as it came to lap 48 of the event, the first caution race came out for debris on the racetrack. ARCA always has the race brake, so they would go ahead, because they were basically around halfway at that point, they would go ahead and throw the ARCA brake around lap 50 of the race. Then we go back racing with Brendan Butterbean Queen on the inside and William Swatch on the outside, and Brendan got a pretty strong restart and was able to clear for the race lead. Now, throughout this run, William Swatch was able to keep up with Brendan, at least on the short run, and would actually maintain a couple tenths of a second. But once we started getting into a longer run, Brendan started pulling away. It was really good on the bottom of the track, especially he got hooked up on the bottom of the racetrack. And historically, when you run the high line, you're able to gain a ton of ground. But for some reason tonight, the high line was not really working that much, especially for Williams' car. It seems like his car was a lot better on the bottom than it was the top, because every time he ran the top, he would lose like 2 or 3 tenths a second and only gain about a tenth of that back, so he was losing a ton of ground. And by the time we started getting into traffic once again, William Swatch was losing a ton of ground once again. But everything would change with around 20 laps to go in this race, where Brendan had a near 3-second lead in front of William. They were passing Michael Maple, who's already 2 laps down in the race. Michael would go up the racetrack, basically wreck himself under William Swatch. William almost got collected in that incident. Michael ends up spinning out. This brings out the caution with around 18 laps to go. Everyone would then come down pit road. They don't have live pit stops, so after that incident, they would all come down. Brendan, of course, won the race off pit road. We go back racing with Brendan on the inside, William on the outside. And Brendan once again got a really good push from Lawless Allen and was able to take the race lead. And Brendan once again was starting to pull away as he was starting to get a bigger lead over William Swatch, who eventually got up to second after passing Lawless with around 10 laps to go. But then, with around 7 or 8 laps to go in this race, everything would change once again. You had Thad Moffat, who was having a really solid run inside the top 5, charging his way up to the front at the end of the race. He would clear himself right in front of LeVar Scott going down the back straightaway. Not clear going down the back, goes up the racetrack, and basically ends up wrecking himself really hard into the outside wall, bringing out the caution. That's just a spotter and miscommunication between the driver and the spotter right there. That's a big mistake on Thad. Thad should know better at this point, just not even clear at all. I mean, LeVar Scott's up there as a big mistake on Thad's part. Unfortunately, tough break because Thad's coming off of having a really good run at Talladega a couple weeks ago. So tough break there for Thad, but that was clearly his fault. Just a bad situation all around for both guys, but in my opinion, that is clearly on Thad Moffat. So then during this caution, Isabel Robusto, she'd actually come down pit road and play a little strategy to get on fresh tires while most of the leaders would stay out. And then on the restart, Brendan Butterbean Queen on the inside with William Swatch on the outside, and Brendan got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead. But this time, William Swatch was able to get by Lawless Allen with around 5 laps to go and was able to move up to second. And it looked like that there was going to be a chance for William to get up there. And as they're coming to the white flag of the race, Brendan Butterbean Queen had about a 7/10 of a second, an 8/10 of a second lead over William Swatch. And it looks like that Brendan Butterbean Queen is going to be able to go to victory. Not so fast. Going down the back straightaway on the white flag of the race, Laney Bice, who is making an ARCA debut, got sideways below Isabel Robusto, who was on fresh tires. Laney would get sideways. She'd go up the racetrack. She'd save it, but unfortunately, Isabel Robusto could not save her car, and she would hit the inside wall very hard, ending her night and bringing out the caution. Top right there for both drivers. Laney, she was doing a really good job running inside the top 10 all night. That was not intentional. She just lost it in the corner. That's tough because she was doing a really solid job for someone in her debut. And Isabella had been struggling with the handling all night long. Isabella just had no luck whatsoever. Not a lot of speed and no luck whatsoever. Obviously, we know Venturini is going to be unfortunately closing at the end of this year. But tough break for Isabella, whose night would come to an end. Now, normally, on the white flag of the race. If the caution comes out, the race is over. But we go back to Phoenix. They have a one-lap shootout for some reason outside of the super speedways, and they had to go back to green. I've never been a big fan of the overtime rules in ARCA. I think if a caution comes out on the white flag of the event, the race should personally be over. I think the one-lap shootouts are really one of the things I'm not a big fan of when it comes to ARCA. I like ARCA, don't get me wrong. I just don't think we need a one-lap shootout to decide who wins the race, but that's my personal opinion. So then we get to the final restart. You have Brendan Quinn on the inside and Williams Walsh on the outside, and Brendan got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. No one was able to challenge him as he pulled out to a near 1 second lead, and coming off the final corner, Brendan Butterby Queen holds off a hard-charging Williams Walsh to pick up his second win of 2025 and a second career ARCA win. Huge congratulations to Butterby. And after the race concluded, Brendan was very, very happy about picking up the win, and so he should. He has been really strong throughout the early portion of the year. We knew coming to this year that Brendan was probably going to be the favorite for the ARCA Championship. He's already won 2 races so far this year. Of course, he won the opening race at Daytona. He should have honestly won that race at Phoenix. Kind of got robbed of that. Not saying Brent Cruz didn't deserve it or nothing, but I do think that Brendan should have 3 wins at this point, and realistically probably could have 4 wins had things gone right at Talladega. But nonetheless, fantastic night for Brendan, a well-deserved win. I hope we get to see him, 1, get sponsored by Waffle House, because he's been doing a lot of stuff at Waffle House. But number 2, I hope he gets some Truck Series starts, because he's way too good to be in ARCA. I hope he gets an opportunity with Spire, because he's a really good talent. Congratulations, Brendan. So happy for the guy. Comes from the late model scene, the car store, and gets a chance and opportunity, and he's delivering week after week after week. So congratulations to Brendan on picking up his second career ARCA win. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at the race results and I'll give my score and thoughts on today's race. So Brendan Queen picks up the win. Williams Walsh finishes second. He's the only one that really had anything for Brendan in this race. His car was really, really good on the short run. It just seemed like that long run speed never was there for the 18 car, which kind of seems to be the same thing for William. It's still a really good night. I hope he can take that as a confidence booster going into the rest of the year for Xfinity, because we know he struggled in Xfinity this year. But a second place, a great run for William, but not enough to get it done. He finishes second. Mason Mitchell finished third. How about that? This guy has not raced much in ARCA in recent years, but the guy was very talented, won the ARCA Championship in 2014, won a Kansas in 2015, and comes home with a really strong top 5 finish. Fantastic run for Mason. I don't think he's got a couple more races scheduled with this team this year, so great run for Mason. He finishes third. Very underrated driver, great talent in the sport. Lawless Allen finished 4th. Third best car in my opinion. Had a really good car on the short run, but he just never had the speed to keep up with Brendan or William. But still a really good night, especially after winning at Talladega a couple weeks ago. Solid night for Lawless. He finished 4th. LeVar Scott finished 5th. Had top 5 speed, never had race-winning speed in the race, but solid top 5 run for LeVar. I think he's up there leading the points, I'm pretty sure. So pretty good night for LeVar. He finished 5th. Andy Jakowiak finished 6th. Solid night for him. Quiet night inside the top 10. Good run for him. J.C. Kitzmiller finished 7th. Got back on the lead lap and gets a top 10 finish. Solid run for him. Lainey Bice finished 8th. Good run for her in her debut. Honestly, I know she kind of got involved in the incident with Isabella, but she was doing a really solid job outside of that. She kept her nose clean until the end of the race, and she gets a very solid top 10 in 8th. Good run for Lainey Bice in the top 10. Spencer Gallagher finished 9th. We'll talk about GMS racing in later this week with the rumors of Dodge coming in, but solid night for Spencer Gallagher in 9th. And Ryan Vargas finished 10th. Shout out to Ryan Vargas scoring the top 10. Didn't really mention Ryan Vargas too much on the broadcast, but I think he did a really, really good job. Showed some really solid speed for that Freedom Racing Enterprises car and gets a top 10. He's a very talented driver. Great run for Ryan. He finishes in 10th. Miguel Gomez finishes 11th. Michael Maples finished 12th. Isabel Robusta, who had a top 10 car at best, she finished 13th. Just not the night for her after crashing out at the end. Tim Goulet finishes 14th. Brayton Lasser, good run for him. He finishes 15th. Thad Moffitt, after crashing out, finishes 16th. Kevin Hinkle finishes 17th. Alex Clough finished 18th. Mike Bastian finished 19th. Matt Kemp finishes in 20th. Patrick Sarpoli finished 21st. Want to talk about him. He started up front, but unfortunately had an engine failure in the beginning of the race that ended his night sadly early in the event. He finished 22nd because he had an engine failure. Brad Smith finishes 23rd, 24th for Nate Muller, 25th for Will Kimmel, and finishing last in 26th place is Brian Clubb. So now, let's talk about the overall race as a whole and give my score thoughts on today's race. Honestly, I'm going to be real. I think the finish was okay. I think there was some good racing from time to time for sure. But generally, the ARCA product right now is just not that great, to be honest. And I think it's because you really have 2 cars that are extremely funded. You got 2 cars that are fast, the 18 and the 28. At one point, There were only 7 cars on the lead lap in this race, and it could honestly have been 3 or 4 cars on the lead lap by the end had we not had the late cautions. ARCA needs to do something about the competition side of things. We all know Venturini is going away at the end of the year. Nitro's coming in, which is a team that Thad Moffitt drives for and Amber Balkan drives for as well. But it just seems like ARCA's not in the best place right now. And I think that you had some good battles tonight between William and Brendan Queen up front, and you had a cool winner, but generally the racing tonight wasn't that exciting, to be honest. Because of that, my score of tonight's ARCA race overall, it's probably going to be about a 6 in all honesty, probably about a 5.5 to 6. Wasn't the most exciting race overall. Definitely could have been better. Had some good moments with the racing, and ARCA definitely better, but my score is going to be a 6 out of 10 tonight for the event. So, that is going to be it for the ARCA race review from Kansas Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's race. Your thoughts on today's race, let me know below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and congratulate Brendan Queen on picking up the win. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow morning on the channel, we're going to see a silly season update, the first one of the 2025 to 2026 season. Then, of course, we're going to have reactions to Cup Series qualifying, and we're also going to have the Truck Series race review. Then on Sunday, we're going to have the starting lineup video for the Avanhell 400, and we're also going to have the Cup Series race review, maybe a Shane Van Gisbergen video as well. Then Monday, we're going to have a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple of days. We got some pretty big updates on the lawsuit we're going to talk about. We're also, of course, going to talk about some other stuff like rumors of Dodge and GMS, and some other big stuff like futures of drivers as well. We're going to have content coming out, people like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, Cards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, people like Cletus McFarland, Matt Benedetto, Frankie Muniz, Connor Zos, Junior Motorsports, all the good stuff. Same with Eric Almirola and Chandler Smith as well. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content, other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, buddy.